Okay guys, good morning!
Good morning, sir!
Okay guys, thank you. You may take your seat.
Thank you, Sam.
Okay, so for today's topic, Anthropocentrism. Anyone who has an idea about sa Anthropocentrism? Okay, Aldrin, GOLDADA.
Anthropocentrism is the idea of human persons regarding themselves as the center of the world. They consider themselves as the most superior creature in the human world.
Any additional about sa Anthropocentrism? Sige, Angelique.
According to Anthropocentrism believes that humans are the most significant species on the planet and nature has a value because it serves as their influence.
Okay, very good, Angelique. Dako naman tayo sa history. Sino nakakalam na history ng Anthropocentrism? Justine.
From the concept of chain of being, it derived the Aristotelian scale, which tells us that we humans are superiors compared to animals and plants.
Okay, very good din. So, nasabi niyo ngayon about sa great chain of being. Sino may idea about sa great chain of being? Wala ko may alam ng great chain of being.
Sir,
Sige, go, Justine.
the great chain of being justifies the anthropocentric view, also known as scala naturae, or the scale of nature. It is derived from Aristotle and Plato's concept.
Okay, so tama yung sinabi ni Justine. Hindi ko alam na yung halaman daw.
Ano yun, stomata?
So tama yung sinabi ni Justine na yung halaman daw is para sa hayop and yung hayop is para sa tao. Okay, next. Okay, for the last part ng ating topic is yung instrumental value ng Anthropocentrism. Sino nakakalam ng instrumental value ng Anthropocentrism? Okay, Lindsey.
In anthropocentric view, all things has a value of an object next to the human.
Okay, so punta na tayo sa lesson 2. Yung pag-aaral natin or topic natin dito is yung cost or yung halaga ng Anthropocentrism. Related silang dalawa. So, paano kaya natin ma-relate yung dalawa? May idea ka, Andrew?
Sir, meron po, pero di po sure.
Sige, okay lang.
There's a correlation between anthropocentric view and the present environmental crisis.
Okay, so tama yung sinabi ni Andrew about sa cost. Yung idea niya. Under the cause is yung environmental crisis. Sino may alam sa environmental crisis? Okay, Angel.
So, sir, the first factor under cause is the environmental crisis. There is a connection between anthropocentric view and environmental crisis. The fact that humans see themselves superior, treating the nature as an instrument in order to satisfy their insatiable desires. It is simply a myriad human-induced environmental crisis with long-term negative consequences for humans.
Okay, very good, Angel.
Thank you, sir.
Our next one is in trails. Sino may idea about the most trails ng cause ng Anthropocentrism? Okay, JD.
Sir, as year pass by, the poorest rate must become low, and the worst is the poor are even poorer.
Okay, very good. Lahat na sinabi niyo, tama lahat na sinabi niyo. So gagawa ng creative output about dito sa lesson 1 and lesson 2 na tinakil natin today. Gagawa kayo ng 25 minutes na video. 25 minutes na video about dito sa lesson 1 and lesson 2 na to. Okay guys, that's all for today. Goodbye, thank you.
Goodbye and thank you, sir.
The idea of human persons regarding themselves as the center of the world is not unfounded. This self-understanding is historically grounded with literatures dating back as early as Greek antiquity and propagated in various epochs. Anthropocentrism, as it had become known, influenced humans' relationship with their environment and is regarded as a crucial factor for the present ecological crisis.
regarding themselves as a center of the world. Anthropocentrism became popular that influences human relationship with the environment, one of the most crucial factors for the present ecological crisis. According to Cox and Simpson 2015, in general, human is the most significant species on planet and nature. It shows that the value of a thing depends on how human look at it.
According to Cox and Simpson, Anthropocentrism believes that the human are the most significant species on this planet, and nature has a value because it serves as their interest. It looks at everything in this world as being at the disposal of humans. The value or entity of an object is determined by its usefulness to humans. The environment exists for its purpose for providing for the happiness and well-being of the humans. According to Kerby, something is valuable only if it serves the needs of humans. Anthropocentric view is the justification of the plunder of the natural resources and the environment.
Aristotle suggests the anthropocentric view, the mindset that there is a 16th degree of completeness in the arrangement in the natural entities. Based on him, we humans are superior compared to plants and animals. He derived it from the concept of great chain of being, which tells us that nature is made for plants, plants are made for animals, and animals are made for us to consume.
This kind of anthropocentric view was established during 18th and 17th century in the Greek and Judeo-Christian tradition. Due to scientific revolution and their like, Francis Bacon, Gottfried Leibniz, and René Descartes, they started to express their philosophies about the anthropocentric view. For Bacon, modern science would allow human to regain control over nature, while Descartes assert that the new science would make the human person the master and possessors of nature. Eventually, the three of them fused with the humanism of Renaissance period. To sum up, this philosophical system supported the point that humans have the rights, power, and freedom to control the nature world.
The great chain of being is a hierarchical structure of all the matter in life. It justifies the anthropocentric view, also known as scala naturae, or the scale of nature, or in other terms, the ladder of being. This concept derived from Plato and Aristotle, and it is arranged from the most base foundation, or the non-being, to the highest perfection, the being.
According to Aristotle's view of a geocentric universe, there exists an hierarchical schematization of nature, which called the Aristotelian scale, wherein the humans are on the top among the other types of animals. This also stated that plants were made for the use of animals and animals were made for the use of humans. This scale served as a derivation from the idea of the great chain of being, which the theologian and philosopher St. Thomas Aquinas had his own version of. His own hierarchical model had a transcendent God above all, followed by the angels, humans, animals, plants, and inanimate objects. Also, according to him, humans are the most significant beings, excluding the God and the angels, in the grand plan of things. He believed as if the universe is a grand stage for a drama and us, the humans, are the main characters.
According to Leibniz, about the impact of the great chain of being is those beings that is higher and perfect are the beings that are more entitled to exist than lower beings, and the existence of lower beings is subordinate to the existence of the higher beings.
In an anthropocentric perspective, all things has value to humans, which means the value depends on how beneficial an object is. According to Cox and Simpson 2015, something has value when it is valued by the valuers. Feed them, please them, shelter them, inspire them, and transform them. Utilitarianism rivets on the instrumental value and not on the instinct one. So basically, the value of an object depends on humans. According to IMBID 217, between humans and nature, the latter part is the valuable, for it is valuable to humans.
To help out the stars in lightening our dark ways, whales become useful in Pennsylvania oil wells. Cotton is another plant used for clothing, while iron was made for hammers and other different that has been useful for us.
The great chain of being dominates the needs and wants of human being. As the result, the environmental crisis rapidly shows.
There's a correlation between anthropocentric view and the present environmental crisis. In the United Nations Climate Change Convention 19th Conference of the Parties in Warsaw, EBSA said that environmental crisis worsened in the aftermath of Typhoon Haiyan.
The Super Typhoon Haiyan, which is known to be the strongest typhoon, destroyed my country. The Typhoon Haiyan left massive devastation and affecting 2/3 of the Philippines. Moreover, there are vast wasteland of mud and debris to the dead bodies. Super Typhoon Haiyan has nothing we have ever experienced before.
Basing on the speech of Sano towards the consequences of the anthropocentric view, humans had always taken advantage of nature, doing everything that they can do in order to satiate their insatiable desires. But due to the effects and aftermath of the Typhoon Haiyan, it became a huge eye-opener for everyone, especially their way of thinking of being superior. The karmas given by the nature are all because of man-made activities. Man-made activities such as the flattening of the mountains and destroying of the ecosystem. Simply, a myriad human-induced environmental crisis that has a long-term negative consequences for the humans.
The human factor refers to the activities in the human person which contributes to the environment. In the Philippines, this human factor is evident in the staggering amount of garbage that wash up in Manila Bay every time in strong rainfall, which in the first place, we intended to bring convenience, comfort, and enjoyment of amenities.
As discussed about the great chain of being, the human person brought upon their environment into a dangerous view, which reduces the nature as an instrument to their disposal. The outlook make it easy for business to build malls, but it expands 100 of trees by reclaiming lands from seas. It is unfortunate that economic prosperity comes at so high a cost, such that one can only tremble at nature distributions for all carelessness and greed.
According to the book entitled The Death of Life, The Horror of Extinction by Saint McDonough 2005, there are several factors reveals the trails of anthropogenic inference in the deteriorating environment situation.
Massive habitat destruction was begun during the Spanish and American colonization, and its caused anthropogenic interference. 50% of the Philippine forest was being used to supply the raw material for the shipbuilding needs. During 1960 and 1970, McDonough adds unsustainable consumptive waste, and as years passed by, the poorer was become poorer now.
Because of the amount of natural resources being taken without being replaced, poor people are even poorer. What more? The damage left behind by destruction of Philippine forests have caused soil erosion, leading to landslide, flash floods, in turn destruction of property and loss of lives. Not mention loss of natural resources, and they may have been a source of knowledge and raw materials to the point it is a race between science extinction.
Unlike before, the fisher folk who rely their livelihood find it more difficult to catch fish. They need to go farther into the sea to catch fish and also to feed their family. The cause of this is the human destruction, like overfishing, destruction of coral reef, and indiscriminate dumping of chemical waste by the factories caused by the chief culprit. In 2002, United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization estimate that 70% of the world's oceanic fisheries were stretched beyond their capacity. In 9 out of 19 world fishing zones, fish catches above the lower limit of estimated sustainable yield.
What is appealing is that fish are harvested to near extinction in order to provide luxury foods which only a few can afford. Commercial fishing boats sail thousands of miles away, moving from place to place, plundering reef after reef, harvesting species of fish to near extinction to gain huge profits at the expense of the poor who rely on the sea for their everyday needs. The commercialization on water ecosystem has also deforested mangroves, which are vital on aquatic marine resources because like coral reefs and mangroves has also been served as breeding grounds or nurseries for marine resources. McDonough 2004 states that mangroves are being cut to give way to construction of fish ponds, shrimp farms, hotels, or houses. The Philippine Biodiversity Conservation Priority reports that in the last 30 years, miles and miles of mangrove forests have been destroyed.
A report released by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change in 2007 revealed that the increase on greenhouse gas post-industrial were caused not by natural means but is rather a result of human activities since 1750, of which the most prominent is the use of fossil fuel and land use change, as well as agriculture.
In year 2015, according to Yo, developed countries are to blame since they rely their growth on carbon-intensive industries as said by experts. China, United States, Russia, India, and Japan are the top carbon-emitting countries. On the other hand, National Geographic listed 10 countries that weigh greatly on Earth's biocapacity, which has Qatar, Kuwait, United Arab Emirates, Denmark, and United States on the highest spots. In connection, these countries emit greenhouse gases and use Earth's resources more compared to others. Moreover, National Geographic says humans consume 50% more of what the Earth can renew each year. This means the total of 1.5 planets each year. If this continues, humans will use a total equivalent of 2 planets each year by 2030.
Given that anthropogenic interference is significantly capable for causing imbalance in the environment, according to Sano 2013, we must not call the disaster like Typhoon Haiyan a natural disaster. It is not natural that people die because of a monster storm, now that it is considered the strongest storm that ever hit on the land. Insano also pointed that the constant breach of economic, social, and environmental was connected to pursuit of economic growth and sustainable consumption has altered the climate system.
One, two, three.
Yan.
Wait.
Ano, isang style ganyan. Yan.
May tanong. Lakas na ka ba?
Pre.
Pare seryoso.
Seryoso. Ayos. Waki.
Okay.
Waki naman. Oh, next. Yung kamay.
Next, Ryan. Ay na, next na.
Ikaw muna ka.
Gusto mo kanina. Pare seryoso.
Di pa tapos. Picture nga daw. Yan. Nalibag Picture. Okay. Yan. Alisin mo yung ano.
Yung fierce daw, fierce.
Yan.
Fierce yung kailangan.
Fierce
kasi kailangan.
Sabay.
Fierce daw.
Ayos na.
Bilisan mo na.
Fierce daw. Andun na pipicture na
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Hindi talaga nakuha pa rin. Tinatakpan.
Fierce kasi, magwaki.
Fierce.
Yan.
Bisa mo mag-video pa tayo.
Hindi pa kalali. Ano kasi trip eh.
Ikaw lang ang pinamatagal.
Pag nakaganto lang pag sarili lang.
Video na lang tayo. TikTok.
Ala, fresh!
Thank you, Lord.
Bakit ang fresh? Ano ba yan, kilay? Oh, pilik mata. Gusto ko na din.
Walang jowa.
Parang tanong tayo walang jowa. Ala, ba't ang fresh? Ganun mo. Ganda naman ang camera ko. Ang ganda nga ng camera mo. Ang ganda nito. Oy, gusto ko. Ang ganda mo. Parang gusto ko na magkilay sa ganda mo ngayon.
Kilayan kita.
Dali.
Anthropocentrism. It is the idea of the... What is anthropocentrism? It is the idea of the general...
Ano ba? Habang ba ako hindi?
Go.
Saan? Try mo lang.
Nakalimutan ko yung umpisa ko. Wait lang, Linz, doon ka na nga. Kami na lang ni Quiton. Please, tatawa na naman akong tatawa eh.
Oo na yan, Anrea.
Doon ka naman na.
Wait lang, isa pa.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, go.
The great chain of being is a hierarchical structure of all the matter in life. It justifies the anthropocentric view, also known as the scale.
Oo, tama. Scala kasi.
Scala ba? Scala?
Oo,
Sniper?
scala.
Scala naturae.
Okay, ulit natin.
1, 2.
Mamaya may mga bato na sa bag ko ah.
The great chain of being is a hierarchical structure of all the matter in life. It justifies the anthropocentric view, also known as scala naturae.
Dito rin, gago. May dito rin dito.
Uy, sir dito nakagalit si Justine, ang ingay mo.
Parang kamong gago. Ayaw mo siya, napicture na tayo eh.
Sino?
Di naman tayo nakatalikod naman tayo eh. Huwag lang kayo marap sa kanya. Game na.
Picture na tayo?
Kilala, naka-jacket pa ang dito ba? Sino naka-jacket?
Taguin niyo ko.
Bakit? Hindi naman tayo.
Pipicture lang eh.
1, 2, 3, go.
The great chain of being is a hierarchical structure of all the matter in life. It justifies the anthropocentric view, also known as scala naturae or scale of nature, or in other terms, the ladder of being. This concept derived from Plato and Aristotle. It is arranged from the most base foundation, from non-being to the highest perfection, the being.
Go.
The Super Typhoon Haiyan, which was known to be the strongest typhoon destroyed by country. Wait lang, natatawa ko last na.
Lakasan mo.
Sige, ulit. Kanina pa ako.
Game.
Moreover, there is a vast wasteland of mud and debris to the dead people. Last. Tuloy yun na lang.
Game. 1, 2, 3, go.
The Super Typhoon Haiyan, which was known to be the strongest typhoon. Na ano ko te? Na...
Ayun na nga.
Sige, babasahin ko na
sige.
lang. Malinaw mata ko eh.
Game.
Ano na? Maliw ako, gagi. Sige, wait lang.
Ano ba? Hintay mo bisa dito eh. Gawin ako dito.
Wait lang, huwag kang matawa.
Go.
Tumawa ba?
Di ba nakakatawa?
Yung mga hinga-hinga niya,
Lilipad.
yung malalim.
Di ba? Tama ka rin ang tawa.
According to hotdog.
Wala.
Wait lang.
Nanghina siya.
Yung matawa.
Sunkissed.
Uy, ganda ng skin tone.
Tumawa.
According to the book entitled The Death of Life. Wait lang. Balo kasi isa. Tingnan yan. Tingnan mo ginagawa niya pa. Nahuli ka talaga.
1, 2, 3, go.
As the great... wait lang. Kalimutan ko. Wala.
Yeah, number yan.
Okay. Okay na.
Game. 1. Kita ba?
Dito ka.
Dito,
Sa
sa baba.
ilalim ng camera.
Siyempre. 1, 2, 3, go.
To help out the stars in lightening our dark ways, whales become useful in Pennsylvania. Oil wells.
Ano yun? Ano ba yun?
Nakalimutan ko yung oil wells.
Oo, bloopers talaga.
Ito na, mag-script ka na nga eh.
Oo.
Kalimutan mo.
Saya ng tawa.
Sa'yo nga yun.
Di ba ka
Ulit
naka-script
na.
yung tawa?
Wait lang, ito yung pang ano ko na ka ba? Game.
Pupuno na bloopers dyan.
To help out the stars in lightening our dark ways.
Pupuno na bloopers.
Ways pala, ways. Ways. Game.
Nakakatutig ko yung tawa niyan eh. 1, 2, 3, go.
To help out the stars in lightening our dark ways, whales become useful in Pennsylvania oil wells.
Yun na yan?
Hindi, puputulin ko.
Okay, sige. Go.
The human factors refers the activities of the human person contributes to the environment. In the Philippines, this human factor is the evident in the staggering.
Huwag ka tumawa!
Kasi tumatawa.
Game ulit.
Nakasama pa ulit, bro. Nakasama. Okay, 1, 2, 3, go.
The human factor.
Pumiyok. Sorry, pre. Sorry, pre. Sorry, pre. Okay.
Yan lang.
Go sis,
Dito
ka
ako.
na
Ako dito.
1, 2, 3, go.
The human factors
Gusto nyo,
refers to the
Ulit.
activities.
Huwag naman yan. 1, 2, 3, go.
The human factors refers to the activities of the human. Ulit.
Okay. 9 minute ba?
Game.
Game.
The human factors refers to the activities of the human person contribute to the environment. In the Philippines, this human factor is evident. Ulit.
Oo na nga, pre.
Mahirapan kayo sa akin.
Game. 1, 2, 3, go.
The human factor refers to the activities of the human person environment to the environment contribute. 1, 2. The human factor refers to the activities of the human person contribute to the environment. In the Philippines, this human factor is the evident in the strategy. Ulit, nabubulol ako.
Okay.
Taas mo mamaya.
1, 2, 3, go.
The human person.
The human person. Diyan! 1, 2, 3, go.
The human factors.
Ang saya nga eh.
Mahirapan kayo sa akin.
Hindi kaya. 1, 2, 3, go.
Ganta mo na lang. Bisado ko naman to. Hindi, sige. Bisado nga muna ako.
Sino next muna?
The great chain of being dominates the needs and wants of human being.
According to Leibniz, about the impact of the great chain of being is those beings that is higher and perfect are more likely to... According to Leibniz, about the...
Paano yung kaya?
Yung autoquest mo.
Hindi mag-autoquest ko, wala autoquest dito.
Corny.
Auto-battle lang.
Autobattle lang.
Huli ka. 2, 3, go.
This self-understanding is historically grounded with literatures.
1, 2, 3, go.